Welcome back to Daily Dose. My name is Robert, my pal Susan, and we mentioned the factor of time. Why now? Why is it important to do day one, Parkinson's Prison, the hero's journey to escape now? Well, Ray Dorsey's work is the first one I point to, which is to say he's calling this he's calling it a pandemic. If that word doesn't frighten you, you weren't paying attention during COVID. This is a different type of pandemic because this isn't something where we have a cure. So you get Parkinson's, you're pretty much at this point leaving the planet with Parkinson's. That's the sad and unfortunate truth that we need to face right now. So we want to end the man-made part of it as soon as possible. How do we do that? According to Dr. Dorsey, that is by telling our stories to raise our volumes high enough so that those with the power to be to end those chemicals can do it. So there's my first step on why now, why right now your story matters.
That's pretty powerful. There are a few other groups that Dr. Dorsey named that put that in perspective for me. The most obvious one being the group of people in the early 80s who started having this terrible disease that terrified everybody, and nobody was willing to touch anybody or talk, no idea what was going on. And the people affected by it said, "We are not untouchables.
And we're not going to be quiet.
We're not going to be quiet about this." And before too long, this thing called AIDS and HIV, the virus that led to AIDS, was understood and attacked and is now much more controlled. And that's because people spoke up.
Oh, big. And that's right, because having grown up in that era as a young teen, it was this very, oh my gosh. And people at first tried to say, okay, well, is this only amongst certain groups and this, that, and the other? But it became pretty clear, and maybe it's because I grew out in a more progressive place, but this is a human condition. So there's no othering this. If we don't deal with this, this is all of us. And that's what we need to do. I think the same with Parkinson's is to say, nobody with Parkinson's did anything wrong to get it. It happened environmentally and perhaps genetically, we don't know that, but we can certainly say environmentally because we were alive in a space. I mean, are we guilty of being alive in a space? Is that where we are now?
We're a victim of a chemical.
Ignorance. I think ignorance, really, victim of ignorance, right? We're not willing to own up to the prevalence of these things causing the problem. And we can point to things like nicotine. Great example, right? They fought like hell to say it isn't addictive, won't be. And that's how these same chemical companies are going to be about Parkinson's. They're going to say it doesn't cause it. They're saying there's no correlation. The evidence is weak, and they're going to keep saying that. Why? Because they're making money. Okay. Does that stop? Does that change anything for you as a person with Parkinson's? No, you've got Parkinson's. Do you want your next generation to avoid having Parkinson's? Tell your story. Tell it loud. And again, what is your story? Back to day one, that's who we are. Because what happens in the prison, people get quiet or feel like their story doesn't matter for some reason, or that they're not empowered to share and change. And that's what we want to give people, is the empowerment for their voice, to raise it for them to live better and their loved ones to live better.
And day one is so cool because it gives you a template. It gives you a kind of a place to get started and a path to go on. And we have a leader, teacher, Sherpa to help us uncover and push us and help us find the courage to keep writing and keep asking questions and keep deep diving.
I'm going to put a final pin on this because there's about 45 seconds left, just to say that for those who are on the fence or considering, go to the website, look at all the information. You'll see testimonials from dozens of those who've gone through the program already. Very soon, there will be an academic article that validates the clinical trials that were done within my PhD study on this. You'll listen to Susan and I describe the hero's journey steps and get to hear her effect. And anything else you need to know, why your story matters, why now, it's all there. And if it's not, email me. We want you involved in this program. And this is people with Parkinson's, care partners, even wellness medical providers who have a story to tell within this scope. We all need to raise our voice. So we hope you'll join us. Susan, final word?
I'm picturing Michael J. Fox years ago, who went before
Mhm.
Congress without taking his medication so that they could see. And it still didn't happen. So it's got to be more voices, a lot louder, a lot more visible. And this program is designed to help us get that jump started.
Well stated. That's your daily dose.